a shot of truth serum for your investment and insurance questions. I am Josh Knoll, the owner of Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Jay Stubbs, Regional Director for First Protective. We are brought to you on the Prime Capital Investment Advisors Podcast Network. Well, Jay, we normally don't time stamp our podcast, but I think it's safe to say we're not really normal times right now, are we?
Well, you keep saying that in all these podcasts, but we've time stamped the last 8. So, yeah, I just want to let it be known, like our first 10 podcasts that we did not time stamp them, but the last 8 we have because we're going through all this stuff.
We are going through all this stuff. That's right. We actually, we have a whole couple series on the shelf waiting for things to get back to normal. But so listeners, we're recording this on April 16th, 2020. And obviously we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic, also during a time of extreme market volatility and uncertainty. So as many of our listeners already know, Jay and I decided weeks ago that we would attack this crisis to the best of our ability by pivoting our podcast and our content to ideas and concepts that we hope that would potentially help people navigate what is going on. So with that said, you are tuning into our Leadership in a Time of Crisis series, and you're about to hear from someone that serves as a guide to thousands of qualified plan participants. That's 401k type plans for those not nerds that are in the industry. His name is Robert J. Cruz. He is the Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Financial Fitness for Life. Robert is going to give us a behind-the-scenes look at the decisions facing a large independent qualified plan advisory business and his unique value proposition for employees, employers, and advisors. But before we dive into all this, let's have our friends from Sloth Racer kick us off.
Josh, good. We're having a good time on this Zoom virtual podcasting opportunity. I think this is cool stuff. I've done the last several, and I've enjoyed it. Hopefully we can roll with this moving forward.
Robert Cruz, man, how are you?
I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Now you're calling in from Kansas City, is that right?
No, sir. I'm in North Dallas.
You're in North Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me. Okay, I had that mixed up. The RIA, Prime Capital Investment Advisors, is based in a suburb out of Kansas City, and I was going to tease you on the weather because it looks like it's in the 40s there, but you're probably not that cold in Dallas, I wouldn't think.
No, not that bad.
Well, I've got to do just a very quick housekeeping for compliance. Jay Stubbs and First Protective are not affiliated with Prime Capital Investment Advisors, with Qualified Plan Advisors, or with Gulf Coast Financial Advisors. Me, Josh Knoll, I'm not affiliated with First Protective. And Robert Cruz is not affiliated with First Protective or Gulf Coast Financial Advisors.
But yeah, we're all on this podcast together.
Yeah, we're professional buddies. That's what we decided is how we're gonna maneuver this. So, Robert, I want to jump right in to tell folks what is Financial Fitness for Life and what's your role there.
Happy to. So, Financial Fitness for Life, we are honored to be able to provide financial wellness. The way that we deliver it is in-person financial coaching. We have a phone bank, and then we also deliver state-of-the-art digital wellness. My role is to head up our value proposition with advisors, directors of benefits, and treasury or CEOs of companies. Those are our clients, if you will. And then we work on their behalf to the employees.
What would you say, Robert, would be your unique mission to Financial Fitness for Life?
So we coach employees to become financially resilient. We want them to attain their life's ambitions. And resiliency is a perfect word, especially now, as Josh, as you pointed out, with COVID-19 pandemic. When you look at the word resiliency, what it means is be able to bend but not break, quick to recover, and able to withstand shock. And so much of what we do is preparing or dealing with financial situations that typical accidental investor or employee is not prepared for. In an ideal world, we would get them prepared beforehand. So we would walk them through like a pre-mortem, the pre-experiencing of evils. Here's what could happen, and are we prepared? So that would be our unique mission. It's around resiliency and helping those employees.
Well, Robert, let me ask you this. You know, I'm a guy that, as Jay knows, I play the guy off the street on this podcast, right? So Jay's the one with the big old brain, and I'm the guy coming down from the hills and just talking like a normal person would. So here's my thing. I'm a 401k, 403b, 457. I'm a qualified plan participant over the last multi-years. All I've done is just put my money in, and my money has just grown. with an occasional blip, all I've seen it do is go up and up and up and up. So when somebody would come in and tell me that, hey, there's more things that we can look at doing here, there's more valuable information we can provide to you to help you, I would say probably at some time period, you're like, well, my 401k is great. Why am I worrying about it? How do you feel that this crisis has really brought to the forefront the fact that there is value to having furthering education and someone standing behind that qualified plan when things go this direction? Because those people that were okay for so many years are the ones now that are really deeply concerned. How do you all handle that?
Yeah, so first and foremost, there is no such thing as a free lunch. So to your point, for the individuals that are putting off immediate gratification and contributing on behalf of themselves and their loved ones to their 401k, we say kudos to you. But you're exactly right. Because there is no free lunch, we have to talk about the normalcy of bear markets. While this might feel like an abnormal environment, we have unfortunately had pandemics before. And we should also know, when we illustrate to 401k participants and 403b participants, you and I will experience between 10 to 15 bear markets in our lifetime. So I'm 49 years old. I've only experienced, this is my 6th bear market, and God willing, I'll get many, many more to go. And so what we illustrate to individuals is, as a young saver, this is a wonderful, it's an unfortunate, but from an investment standpoint, a wonderful opportunity to be buying more shares. For a midlife saver, you also have that opportunity. For those nearing and at retirement, that's really where we have to illustrate to them, is it worth the upside to take the amount of risk that could be available to be damaged on the downside? And so those are the kind of conversations that our coaches get to have on behalf of those employees.
And when you have those conversations, what tends to be the biggest message that gets communicated?
It's one of trust. So illustrating to them that we are not only there to meet with them in person on a one-on-one basis, but on an ongoing basis, and letting them know that we're not econs, all-knowing rational entities. We're people. And as individuals, how are we going to do right via ourselves and our loved ones? And those are the messages that we illustrate to them. And when they feel uncomfortable, when they don't feel good about the investments, or they get their quarterly statement, they have a coach. And one way of illustrating that is in our industry, we have what we would call the hunted and the ignored. The hunted are the high net worth individuals that every financial advisor would want to work with, right? Because they have a lot of investable assets. We feel very purposeful at Financial Fitness for Life because we can take care of the ignored. Those individuals that might not have enough money even to contribute to their own 401k, but we can help them get their financial house in order. And that's what we do on a daily basis, and it helps us and do the right thing.
All right.
I hear you loud and clear. Trust.
I like that. That's really well said. Robert, I want to do a point of clarifying to set up my next question, because any of the folks that are in my network or follow this show have heard Prime Capital Investment Advisors multiple times. And that's there's some intentionality there, because I want folks to know that Gulf Coast Financial Advisors, a boutique firm in small town Fairhope, Alabama, is backed by a multi-billion-dollar independent RIA, right? I've got a mothership there that provides resources. So part of Prime Capital Investment Advisors is the individual wealth management division and the qualified plan division. Historically speaking, advisors would affiliate with an RIA, and they would exclusively deal with those various companies. You all have intentionally set Financial Fitness for Life up differently to where you can work with advisors outside of the RIA. Is that accurate? And can you describe how that works?
That's exactly right. And so growing up as an RIA with a parent company being Prime Capital Investment Advisors, we uniquely know exactly what that advisor is looking for. And so I would say before the pandemic, many of the advisors that we would call upon that historically thought we were a competitor would say, well, that's what we do, that we meet with individual employees. And what we uncovered many a times is they would meet with the individual employees to uncover that hunted opportunity, right? That individual that had the investable dollars. And our value proposition to that advisor is, if we could help your practice, if we could meet with all of the individuals, and if and when there is a high net worth individual that you wanted to work with, that's not our client, that's your client. And so we start to become a foundation stone in their practice, in their value proposition.
I got Jay. I know Jay's got a really great question for you. Before he gets to his, I've got a question for you. Is when the advisors that have already started working with Financial Fitness for Life, uh, albeit through Prime Capital Investment Advisors, or potentially reaching out to you through a different channel, has Financial Fitness for Life part of their value proposition a robust amount of communication with plan participants and sponsors at any time period, but definitely during a crisis? Is that a fair question?
It's an incredible question because it's spot on. What we have to clarify is historically people thought financial wellness was digital wellness. I'm going to send you an email and it looks so beautiful and so perfect that you're going to read this email and you're going to take it into account. Or then we said, well, let's have a phone bank, right? And now what we've recognized is people want, whether they're self-described as struggling or they're self-described as prospering, they both want the same thing, and that is in-person financial coaching. The challenge in our industry is how do you pay for that? And that's also what is a unique value proposition with Financial Fitness for Life.
I've got a question looking forward, Robert. What do you think might change for employees and qualified plan participants post-COVID-19?
It's an important question. So what we do think is going to transpire is because of social distancing, you are going to see, unfortunately, an increase possibly in depression and anxiety. So that could take place if we don't take care of our employees. We think those that are experiencing financial wellness or have employers that offer this service will have an incredible opportunity because we are going to be giving them that robust coaching, that contact, not just from a financial standpoint, but a well-being standpoint. We should be that extension on behalf of that employer, not only creating goodwill, but letting them know that they're not alone. And the challenges that they're facing, we're here with them.
I know that statistically, if you look back, a number of articles, I can't quote it or cite it here. So for those compliance purposes, I just know that the top two reasons that somebody starts retiring early are, number one, job loss. They've exited the industry or their company or what have you. And number two, health issues, too sick to work. When do you think the data might be available to see what kind of impact we're going to see on our qualified plan environment based on what we're experiencing today?
So I would say two things. Number one, what you'll see from the global financial crisis of 2008 is most target date investors. One way of answering your question, Jay, the record keeper will say only about 8% of the people move their money in the target date fund. If you drill deeper, what you realize is those that are nearing and at retirement, the strong majority of the assets unfortunately flew out of the target date funds. Why did that happen? Because we used their procrastination and inertia, right, with automatic enrollment, automatic deferral increase, automatic money management. We defaulted them into an investment, and it wasn't a bad investment. They just didn't know what they had. And so that's the first challenge. The second point that you bring up is spot on. Unfortunately, when most people retire, they also start taking their Social Security distribution, right? And so this is a situation we already know from the CARES Act that as much as we can talk about putting off immediate gratification, the government is saying to us, now you can use that as a piggy bank to help you live to fight another day. I'm not arguing against it, but we have to point out that our retirement assets have always been that resource when times get tough. Now, let me just flip it for a second, because there's some very positive things that can come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, trust us when we say our heart goes out to those whose lives have been impacted in a very negative way. But we would say that one of the things that we are talking about with our employees is getting off this hedonic treadmill. What the heck does that mean? Well, think about it. When I was a young saver, all I needed to buy was that brand new car, and my whole life would be complete. I would be an awesome guy, especially because I was single, right? That was me. I had this brand new car. And now with COVID-19, nobody sees my car. And then, of course, after I buy that car when I was younger, and 3 months, 6 months later, it was just another car. So then it was another suit. It was another tie. That was that hedonic treadmill. One of the positives that we're experiencing now is people are starting to revisit what actually makes me happy. What makes me purposeful in my daily walk? Those are the things that we're going to be able to address. The next thing I would say is when we talk about a survival of species and you look at the species that did survive, it wasn't the fastest, it wasn't the smartest. It was those species that were willing to adapt and change. And that's exactly what we're doing right now with this pandemic.
Old Bill Platypus.
Love it. Well, Robert, we are going to start landing this and wrapping the show up. I want to give you the last word, though. Is there any, do you have, I think you kind of hit it, but is there any additional bottom line messages that you'd like to send out to, advisors, plan participants, anybody that would fall under Financial Fitness for Life's umbrella?
Well, first and foremost, we would be honored to be a resource. If you're that advisor, if we can assist with your practice. For the employer and the employee, what I would ask you to consider is the following. It's one of my mantras, and the saying is amor fati. Amor fati is a Latin saying which basically means love of fate. What I mean by that is here we are. I don't love the environment it's extremely unfortunate for us as a country and as a globe, as a world. What I will say is here we are, and the question is, what are we going to do with this environment that we're in? We can either, one, we can have a fear zone and complain and be in a bad situation. We can do number two and be in a learning zone. What can I start to focus on to start to be the better person that I can be? Or number three, we can use this as a growth environment. I can share gratitude. I can help those around me. That's going to help me in a better way. I can spread hope. So this is an environment we would charge those that are listening. If we can be that resource on your behalf, we would be honored. Josh and Jay, we're very appreciative that you've allowed us the opportunity to share our message.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. So listeners, if you'd like to reach the show, you can text or call 251-327-2124. Plus, you can visit Gulf Coast FA, that's FA as in financialadvisor.com, or PCIAwealth.com to hear this podcast or any of our other podcasts. Robert, I'm going to jump in to reach your website. It is FitTrusts.com. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. FITTRUSTS.com. You'll have your bio and contact info there as well, correct?
That's exactly right. And we also have a special section on COVID-19. So any way that we can be a resource, regardless if you're a client or not, it's our responsibility to help.
All right. And then to you independent and semi-independent advisors and agents out there, I will share Jay Stubbs occasionally. And you can reach him at jaystubbs.com. That's JAYSTUBBS.com. So fellas, another show in the can. First, I want to thank Robert Cruz of Financial Fitness for Life. Robert, I'm going to tell you, small things matter and people remember things. When we first met, you came up to my wife and my kids and you gave them $2 bills and they still talk about it. So when I told my wife I was having you on, she said, "Is that the $2 bill guy?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he'll be happy to know that you remember. So thank you for coming on. You did great. Also, thanks to our producer, Johnny Gwynn. He is the Bond villain up in the left-hand corner that you see on the video, for those that want to watch the video. He's the owner of Deep Fried Studios and Media. If y'all haven't figured it out that you need to reach out to him, you need to reach out to him now. And then to my co-host, Jay Stubbs. And then lastly, a huge shout out to all of y'all that have joined Jay and I on this journey, to those of you joining us now. And then really just a special message that for those that are in the medical industry, the healthcare industry, the doctors and nurses, the LPNs, the RNs, the respiratory therapists, Jay and I, Johnny, the whole show, cannot say enough how much we appreciate the fact that you all are literally walking into the lion's den on behalf of us to protect people like us. We sit here and we move money around and we talk and we try to do what we can to provide people some guidance and hope when it comes to their finances, but you all are out there fighting the true battle and we appreciate it. So with all that said, thank you for joining us. This has been Every Dollar Counts with Josh and Jay.